Welcome to Abilene, Texas. This is the site of Project Stargate, a very, very mysterious, much talked about, much speculated about project. Why call it Stargate?
It began as a code name, and sometimes code names stick.
Emily?
Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome to Abilene.
It's so awesome to be here.
Yeah.
How many people are on this site?
Today we have about 2,200 people on site.
If it all comes together, this is going to be one of the most massive infrastructure projects in American history.
This was just a complete barren field.
So
right?
there was nothing here in June?
There were a bunch of mesquite trees and bushes and brush. And today we have almost 1 million square feet fully developed building that's going to be energizing large-scale GPU clusters in the coming weeks and months.
Building after building on this red dirt behind me will be filled with chips that'll power the AI revolution. If you're using ChatGPT somewhere out there, there's a good chance it'll be powered by data centers that are being built right here. There have been no pictures, no cameras allowed inside until now. So we are going to give you your first look. The velocity of innovation here is just mind-blowing. What I saw rising from the red dirt in Abilene, how do you personally grapple with the pace of it all?
We are definitely doing something unprecedented. I believe AI will help dramatically accelerate the pace of science and human discovery and our understanding of what's possible.
It's time for another Elsie's Little Pickles, a pickle pod for the people, reminding everyone to please continue your pickle-pegging porch protest by finding a MAGA supporter, tossing a pickle on their porch, and sending the picture of it to us here at elsieslittlepickles@gmail.com. So the reason I wanted to start the show with that particular clip is there's a couple of reasons. One, the data farms that are going up are essentially going up without a lot of the residents being informed or included in the decisions, which is causing problems with apparently water and heat and electricity and all this stuff, right? And the other reason
you would think if they're going up in the West, that would be a big issue with water.
That's exactly it, especially in, like Texas area, in I think Utah's the other one. I got a clip coming up on that. But the thing that's the issue in that also is, so that was Sam Altman in that clip talking about AI. And he was the one that was asked why the name Project Stargate. And he just dismissed it. It was a name given to a project and, not really thought about, and it just stuck. Right. But I think that there's a deeper connection. Okay. I think that the Stargate aspect of it is actually something worth paying attention to, especially in its connection to AI and how that will play out as far as future technological advancement goes. It's not just going to be about, medical advancement. I think AI is going to be going to play a significant role in our technology advancements. And when I say technology, I'm talking about quantum physics level technology. But we'll get to that in a little bit. What I want to do is I want to play this other clip for you about data centers because I found it fascinating. And I do find this fascinating because we're like putting up data centers as quickly as we possibly can at huge, huge expense.
You know what they should do? They should just hire Richard Dean Anderson to talk about their data centers that are called Stargate.
Yeah, good old Quantum Leap himself.
Well, he also starred in Stargate.
Well, that's right. He was in SG-1. Well, we could also get, what's his name, that was in the original Stargate. Well, it was Kurt Russell and...
yeah, and he can never remember his name.
What, Kurt Russell?
No, the other dude.
Yeah, he was Age of Ultron. He was the bad guy through all the 80s teen movies.
James Spader.
Thank you. God damn. Memory's the first thing to go. So this guy is talking about I believe it's the Utah data center, which is the Shark Tank guy.
Well, They shouldn't get James Spader because anything he says is going to sound like a villain talking.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go with, was it Richard Dean Anderson?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go with him. All right. So here's this clip. Another person concerned about AI.
All of these data centers are being built without any approval by the public. Nobody's even asking. They're just doing it. But before I get ahead of myself, let me just tell you about the one in Utah. Watch this.
So, Utah has approved a data center so massive, it's going to be more than twice the size of Manhattan. It's being built in the empty desert of northwestern Utah, near Snowville, close to the Idaho border. The project is called the Stratus Data Center, and it's being pushed by Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. And the power demand is even crazier. The site could eventually need up to 3 gigawatts of electricity, roughly the output of multiple nuclear reactors. Environmental groups warn it could raise Utah's planet heating pollution by nearly 50%. Estimates suggest the project's power systems could consume up to 16.6 billion gallons of water per year. That's enough water to fill around 25,000 Olympic swimming pools, all in one of the driest states in America.
Yeah, let me just give you some more comparisons to how big this thing is. This thing is the size of San Francisco. It's 80 times the size of Disneyland. It's bigger than all of Disney World. Disney World is about 43 square miles. This one's going to be about 62 square miles. It's the size of Paris. If you were to put together 15 million suburban house lots, it would still be bigger. It's the same size as if you were to drive from Los Angeles to Central Texas. It's as big as 30,000 football fields.
That's pretty fucking big.
What they need are some amusement rides.
Some cotton candy, maybe some hot dogs.
Trolley. Yeah, maybe a cute little trolley that leads you over the top of it, like a ski lift that has a couple of stops along the way so you can buy a hot dog and a drink.
And then you can be like, you can get off of that and hop on the quantum roller coaster.
Yeah, it's not a real roller coaster. You just sit in a seat and it spins and shakes you. You go nowhere. It's just,
it's just simulation. Everything's a simulation. So are
called
the
the
rides.
Vomit Comet.
Yeah. So I don't know like how to feel about all this, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? Like I honestly don't know how to digest what it is that I'm hearing. When you hear that essentially a data farm is going to be 62 square miles, which is bigger than Disneyland or World, bigger than Disney World.
They should also throw in there a Waffle House.
Oh, you always need a Waffle House. I tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a lot of that type of stuff because that place is going to be so big. You're going in the middle of fucking nowhere. They're going to have restaurants in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, when you couple up everything like electricity out that way, getting it to there, I don't see how they do that without creating nuclear plants in that area. And then you have the issue of the water. Like you said, Utah is kind of not known for having a lot of fucking water.
Line the whole thing on the roofs with solar panels.
Yeah, still not enough. Still not enough. I'm pretty sure, but when you're talking the amount of energy they need, you could pretty much fill the fucking desert with solar panels and it wouldn't be enough. I mean, I think that would be great if they could do that because you're not using that land really for anything anyway, except for lizards and, snakes and stuff.
It's always amazing how people don't care or don't give a shit until it's next door to them.
Well, is that, yeah, but this isn't really next door to anyone. If anything, it's butting up against another state. And I think if I was in that other state, I'd be a little bit concerned and be worried about water rights and water tables and underground water and all that shit. So I don't know. I like I said, I'm a little bit confused because on the one hand, I think that AI is definitely the future. I think it is going to, I think it's like any invention. There's a good side and a bad side. Internet, atomic bomb, or nuclear energy, atomic bombs. So there were good things and bad things. Cars, yeah. There's good and bad with every new technology that comes. Cell phones, even the iPhone. I remember actually having to talk to people. Now, man, if I don't want to be bothered, I just pull out my cell phone if I'm in public. I can sit there and just stare at my cell phone, and that's very vocal, silent cue. Fuck off, leave me alone. You know what I mean? So I like,
Thank you for your opinion, Mr. Jackass.
Yeah. Will the good outweigh the bad here? And moreover, are we rushing to a potential cliff's edge just because we're afraid that other countries are doing the same? So I don't know if there needs to be stopgaps put in here or regulations or laws or whatever, but it seems like this is the wild, wild west right now.
Yeah, it is the wild, wild west because there is a march for AI. I mean, you can't stop AI.
No, at this point, it's going to be part of your life no matter what.
So you got to get used to it. But it's a march to have the strongest, most powerful AI. And then coupled with that, with, quantum computing. You know what this is? This is the nuclear arms race, but with computers.
I think it really is. But my question is, we know already they're weaponizing it, okay? And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. So it could be a good thing because instead of soldiers, you have robots and drones. So instead of, airmen flying and doing these missions, you just use drones. Great. I like that. I don't have to worry about pilots getting shot out of the sky.
You know how you win that war?
Huh.
Take away their batteries.
Yeah. Well, that's the other part of it is all these things are essentially battery powered.
We won the battle. We took away their D cells.
I
know that their 9 volts don't work. I licked them.
The fact that we could hold a country hostage by copper top is kind of amazing. But
somebody stop that bunny. It keeps going
and going
and going.
It's a death bunny. Yeah, that would be great, actually. If they built like a 8 or 10 foot Energizer rabbit with the drum and everything, and sent that into the battlefield, and as it gets close to targets, like the drumsticks turn into fucking machine guns. Now, that would be fun. That would be fun.
It's like a real life Monty Python, the rabbit.
Oh yeah, exactly.
By the way, I saw yesterday a really cool outdoor rug, like in front of a door.
Yeah,
I might have to get it, and it says, "Did you bring a shrubbery?"
They have so many quotable fucking lines. It's ridiculous.
Another one had what is your favorite color? Like the questions.
Yeah. It had all of them on it or just the one?
All of them.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think that might be a housewarming gift. So, but the question I think becomes, take the military aspect out of it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Take the medical advancement aspect out of it and take the quantum physics aspect out of it. Right? Take all the science aspect out of it. Math, whatever, right? What is the benefit to the average person? Because that's where I wonder, are we in a position where we're creating, and this is, this has been a topic for a long time.
Well, you know what the benefit is I immediately got results on who started Stargate.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true. There are some I mean, but aside from being like a super advanced and very accurate Google search,
mm-hmm.
kind of I'm a little bit lost on where the benefits are for the average daily person. And in fact, I see
some of it, honestly, is going to be, I got to replace the spark plugs on my car. Hey, let me turn to AI. And it'll give you step-by-step instructions with a video.
Yeah, but I think I think we're gonna end up with like robotic AI enabled assistants. And when I say robotic, I mean like an actual robot in the house.
Yeah, well, I just listened to a program about people who are paid, I think, $20 an hour to do mundane tasks like washing dishes with a camera on their head to film their hands so that computers can learn.
Well, fuck,
How to
hook
do
me
tasks.
up on that shit because I do mundane tasks all day long. Here's how you mow the lawn. Here's how you weed whip.
Take out the trash. Here's how you plunge the toilet.
Yeah. So when you look at it from the point of view of job loss, I think we're definitely going to get to that point. I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing, as we've discussed before on the show. I think as long as you can find purpose, you're fine. But in the short term, in the transitionary period of all this, I think there's going to be a lot of people that just fucking lose it. That, you know, whether they lose their job, even with some sort of form of universal basic income. So let's say, for example, it's universal high basic income, right? So let's say now everyone is going to get $500,000 a year. All right. Everyone.
Mhm.
Well, doesn't that, you would think that that would be a circumstance that would increase inflation. But what they're talking about is when you have, you know, a system where it's 24/7, whether that's through robotics and AI or just AI or whatever, when you're having products built 24/7, you have surplus, right? So if we end up in a surplus state continuously, that keeps inflation down. Now the question becomes, can you find meaning for your life? Because look, there's a lot of really, really rich people in the world that don't work.
Mhm.
They just don't work. Whether they
Yeah.
made their money or they inherited their money, all they do is decide, I'm fascinated with this, and I'm going to put all my effort into this, whether that's philanthropy, whether that's education, whether that's arts, golf, whatever. Right.
Jarts.
Look, I'm sure there's a fucking billionaire out there that is so into hacky sacks that that's how he spends his day, blowing out knees right and left. But again, that sounds great. And if we can get there with minimal loss of life, I guess, you know, because I do think that people who can't find purpose will find themselves incredibly depressed. They'll probably turn to alcohol or drugs, and the state really won't care. In fact, they might even encourage it because it's a way to get bodies off of the ledger. You know what I mean? It's a way to get
Mhm.
people off of Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. Because let's face it, we're in a situation where, you know, with the boomers retiring at a rapid rate and the beginning of Gen X starting to retire or retiring within, you know, the next 10 years or so, 10, 15 years, those are it's a much larger boomer situation. Now, the longer the boomers stay alive, the more of a drain they are on the system because we are down in population growth. So there's no one stepping up. So basically the way it was like, take insurance for an example. You would have a 20 to 30-year-old, 35-year-old, they would get insurance through their company or whatever, or they'd buy it on their own, but they usually wouldn't use it a lot because they're younger and healthier. Then you'd have the 35 to the 55, 60, 65-year-olds. They'd use it, but not a bunch typically. And then you'd have 65 on, and they were using it fucking always. The same thing is basically with Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid. The vast majority of the money that comes in to fund those comes from the 30 to 60 or 30 to 50-year-olds, 55, right? Because in between 30 and 55, that's when you are making, you're most successful and you're making your most amount of money, but you are draining the system the least. Now we got a situation where that centerpiece that funds everything and the younger generation that also chips in so that the 65 and older can have their Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. They no longer exist in the numbers that are needed. And it's a lopsided system now. So we've got more people relying on the system than paying into the system. I could see a place where that becomes you're expendable. And not like nefarious, but more like, I don't care. You can't find purpose in your life. You decide to take too many pills or drink too much or smoke too much or do whatever, and you're going to die, and that's okay. I could see them amplifying it by getting rid of Medicare and Medicaid. I could see them amplifying it by not having enough mental health professionals.
Mhm.
I could see them, doing subtle things to get people to die after a certain age. And I think that would
Make
be
a whole
shame.
bunch of villages across the states, like
Yeah.
in Florida.
Yeah.
And people just hump until they break a hip or die.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of all that goes on there is just fucking and dying.
Yeah.
And, barbecues on the weekend. So I don't know, right? So I guess what I'm getting at here is when I heard the name Stargate, it triggered a couple of things for me. And one of those things was I keep hearing in all the disclosure and alien talk this idea of Stargates existing, okay? And the idea of it's ludicrous to think that we'll ever get to the point where we can explore the universe by using craft, per se, right?
Mhm.
There has to be some sort of way to either create a
That-
wormhole.
Honestly, just to use a Stargate, would you need a calling card?
No.
Is there a roaming charge on that?
I don't know.
How does that work?
I'm not
What
quite
if you get the
sure.
wrong number?
But there's all these different theories, right? I mean, right down to, remember that 13 or 14-year-old kid that said that CERN had adjusted, in one of their experiments, they had destroyed something or whatever, and our timeline switched by like 1 degree or something to that effect.
I do remember that.
Yeah, Max Laughlin, I think was his name. So there's all this talk, and a lot of it is around AI, and a lot of it's around disclosure. Okay. So when I hear people talking about wormholes, time travel, I'm hearing a lot about time travel, a lot about wormholes, a lot about Stargates. I just like everyone is saying that time doesn't exist the way that we think it does. A lot of people are talking, and even from the religious aspect's even getting involved in this. And there's people out there speaking in terms of whether Christianity or any religion, but I'm hearing more about like our bodies are containers for our soul. It's like a shirt. Don't be worried about it, right? Like it's irrelevant. Your body's irrelevant. Okay. I tend to disagree with that. I'm kind of enjoying my body, and I have been for some time. I'd like to keep it.
Puberty.
Huh? Ever since puberty. Well, actually, before puberty. So I guess what I'm getting at here is when I hear the same types of conversations in the AI circles and in the disclosure circles and in scientific circles and religious circles, it makes me pause. It makes me feel like they're trying to, in their own ways, deliver the same narrative, right? And in the alien circles, you're hearing about these Stargates. So much so that there was a guy that was in the military for special operations, like clearing out wrecked UAPs, but also was involved and got to supposedly see firsthand. I can't remember if he said more than one or just one, but was aware of, I think, 12 Stargates that exist on the planet right now, and said that he had seen at least one. I can't remember how many he said he saw, actually. And he was like, no, they like walk through the Stargate and end up immediately wherever that leads to. Then there was this other woman who apparently was involved in the military as a remote viewer / telepath. And she...
Always remote viewers.
Yeah, I know, they're weird. But let's give them... I mean, there's things we don't know. I'm not saying it's true or not. I'm saying it's interesting. I'm saying that the government did these programs. You know what I mean? Like, the remote viewing programs existed within our government, so they gave it some credibility.
I'm just saying, you want to convince me of remote viewing? Give me some lotto numbers.
Yeah, I agree. But here, let's back up a little bit. If you heard somebody that was a supposed telepath / remote viewer, and you heard a ex-military guy who was in special projects like UAP recovery,
Mhm.
and they both describe what a Stargate looks like, and independently they both describe it, the shape of it, exactly the same. I don't know if they knew each other. I don't know if they had any contact or heard each other or whatever. But that's like one of those little things that make me sit up and go, that's interesting. That's an interesting little fact, because they said it's not a circle like in Stargate or anything like the movie or the TV show. They said it's a square. And it's not like shimmery or anything like that. It's just this fucking square, and you walk into it, and like there's no like shimmering that you're going through or anything. Like it's like walking through a door. The same as if you went from your front door into your hallway, or from your bedroom into the hallway, or, from the kitchen into the garage. Okay. So
That's a little anticlimactic.
Yeah, but don't you think it would make sense that it would be a little anticlimactic, the experience of it? Like,
I don't know.
You're jumping through fucking time. Do you really want to feel like you're falling or going through goo or come out on the other end slimed? I don't. I'd rather just be like, it's just like walking through a fucking door.
Hey, where's my wallet?
Yeah. Hey, easy fellas at this fucking door guys. Those fucking door guys.
Oh, there would probably be on the other side a guy you have to tip.
But even in our entertainment, we're hearing these things, like going back to the Avengers, and they talk in Marvel, they're talking about different timelines. They're talking about different realities. And I'm not saying that means anything other than I believe that to some degree, Hollywood is used to prepare people for things that potentially could come down the line. Right? And
maybe.
Well, they've always been involved in some form of military propaganda. You know what I mean? Like, you had all those war movies when World War II was going on, showing you went in a little weakling and you came out a big tough man and you killed the enemy and you're a hero. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have Steven Spielberg doing his return to the alien world with Disclosure, the movie. And everything's about
another E.T.
Everything, yeah, he really should do another E.T. That would be fucking amazing. Everything, though, is about all these different sources kind of going down the same direction. Parallel universes. They talk about that in AI, right? They talk about they believe they have proof that in order to solve this unsolvable problem, it was actually done in the quantum realm in multiple universes all at the same time to achieve this answer. Okay, that makes my fucking brain hurt. It's crazy. But is it true? And are there different...
It's amazing.
It's astounding. But it's no bullshit. So if that's the case, and there's all these different timelines and everything's happening everywhere all at once, is it that crazy that AI is our gateway drug to being able to understand UAP and potentially alien biologics and how they travel and maybe their technology, and maybe we need that to help communicate with them? And is everything going on all at the same time? Does time actually not exist? It's just our perception of it? I don't know. But I think it's interesting. And here's a little backup on that.
What if somewhere right now, time itself is different? What if another dimension is still living in what we call the past? While we race through technology, cities, and AI, another version of humanity could still be in the 1800s, or even ancient times. And to them, we would look like the future. So tell me, are we moving through time? Or are different worlds simply moving at different speeds?
So, to get back to the Stargate or the portals, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lady, I forget her name. I know her first name was Beverly, but I can't remember her last name now. But she was the one that was the remote viewer telepath. So she's walking through this military facility, and she's very, very aware that anytime something catches her attention because of what she does for them, they immediately debrief her and ask her 1,000 questions and make it very uncomfortable, right? So she's walking down this corridor, and she hears somebody in her head reaching out telepathically that's terrified. And apparently, the person that she was approaching was in a room on the left, and it was glass windowed. She could see in. And he was terrified because he had agreed to participate in this particular experiment, knowing that he most likely would die. But the upside was his family would be very, very incredibly well taken care of if he did die. But there was a 99% chance he was going to die. And it was because they had this Stargate, again, square-shaped. So she's doing her little fucking Vulcan mind meld with this guy, finding all this information out, telling him, don't look at me when I walk. I'm coming up. Do not look to me. They will create all kinds of problems for both of us. Just whatever you do, don't look, right? Don't react to me coming up on you, but I'm about to come up on you. And he's like, all right. And then it's time for him to walk through the Stargate. Now, apparently this portal or this Stargate, they didn't have it figured out fully. So some people would go in and just disappear. Some people would immediately turn into nothing but a red mist. Some people would come back, but their head was where their belly should be and their legs were where their arms should be or some shit like that, right? Like, it was all seven levels.
Like a Van Gogh painting.
Yeah, 7 levels of Van Gogh fucked up, right?
Where's the Picasso?
I think it was Picasso. Yeah, Picasso. And she's like, look, you got to do what you got to do, and I'm here with you. And she literally mentally felt that experience he was going through, and she felt him disappear. And she could be totally full of shit, obviously. But it's interesting, again, to me, that you keep hearing all of this shit, and it's all kind of the same stuff that they're telling us, but from a different perspective. So you got the perspective of the AI oligarchs. You got the perspective of ex-military. You've got the perspective of the UAP investigators, like Lou Elizondo. You've got David Grush. So is it, like, do you think it's possible that we already know how to do this?
The world will never know.
Exactly. But you know what? You know what they do know? They know that these supposed Stargates go back a long, long way, and clearly we didn't know about it or couldn't do it. So somebody put it there, and here.
The Sequela Chakraya carving in Sri Lanka is carved onto this rock face, and there's actually carved stone seats on the opposite side for people to sit there and gaze into it. Now, traditionally, it's like a cosmological map that the ancient people there would talk about. But could it be something else? Because the symbols on it are very unusual.
Locals believe that this is a Stargate, that Buddha used the Stargate 3 times to go to other planets. And they believe that if you go and meditate in front of the Stargate, you can actually open the Stargate using the power of your mind, and you can go to another dimension.
Now, the reason why I brought that one up is because it specifically references Buddha, right? And there were
245 channels, and there's still nothing on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's how I find this shit. But there's writings about Buddha being able to literally disappear from one side of the river and appear on the other side of the river. You've got ancient Indian or Hindu religious texts that talk about the Vimanas or whatever they're called, which were essentially like spaceships, is what they look like. You've got also in the Indian culture and religion, or the religion of Hindi, you've got talk about weapons of essentially that were like nuclear and power energy weapons. You've got all these different things, man, and they're all kind of saying the same thing.
You know what that makes me think? Buddha had this ability, the Hindus, all these other gods and religions, and yet God let Moses and the Jews wander for years in the desert. Maybe.
Well, that's the other thing.
He didn't have that kind of power.
All right, so here's the other thing, okay? And I think this is important. This is the other thing about it, right? Is
I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Sorry, that was Trump. He always has to say something.
Yahweh cannot say that.
So that's the other aspect of it. If you go to the book of Adam, which was, in the Apocrypha, apparently he's got a little different story about God or the Lord, as he says, right? He doesn't say God, but he's telling Seth, his son, this one created me and your mom, but we were essentially one being that was multitude of levels above this one. And he split us up and stuffed us into these meat suits and has been dictating bullshit to us for years. I forgot about it because he wiped my memory.
He keeps talking. He won't shut up.
Yeah, he just won't shut up. So Adam's basically saying, this dude fucked with me and your mom when we were one entity, one angelic entity.
Diddling us. I kept saying, no, don't touch me there,
don't touch it. Yeah, those are the bad touches. And if that's, again, like any religious text, I don't believe it. But let's say that that's true. That means a much lesser angelic or supernatural or whatever the fuck creature in the universe, a much lesser one, figured out a way to fuck with a much higher one and enslave them. And essentially, that's what this world is. This is just a prison. What do they call it? Panopticon? It's a prison. You don't even know you're in a prison.
Yep.
So that's the other aspect of it. Now, was that a different type of alien creature or biologic that did that to another biologic or spiritual or whatever the fuck kind of creature?
It's like a Q from Star Trek.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. You know what I mean? And the thing about it is, I don't know how to process any of it, but I keep seeing these coincidences in all these different topics that I'm interested in or that I research or whatever. So I'm trying to figure out how to process what that means necessarily. And I don't know that you're any help on this. So, aside from the occasional joke, but I don't,
that's what I'm good at.
Yeah. Well, that is what you're good at. Taking an important thing and making people realize, you're just fucking spinning your wheels. So I think the thing that I've learned in this little conversation is you don't know shit about AI data farms.
No, not really.
You don't know shit about Stargates or portals.
Oh, the movies, yeah.
And you're struggling to buy the Alien connection. But you know what all three of these things have in common? Including
What's that?
Including even the time travel thing. Either Trump is involved or his family.
Well, naturally. They have their sweaty little orange fingers and everything.
And they probably know how to time travel, at least by the time Barron is a little bit older, so that he can go back in time and become the guy in the book that was written in, 1909 or whatever, 1919?
Well, I have a hard time. I want to believe in time travel, but logistically, there's some issues with it. Like, it's not just a matter of time, but space. Because, I mean, you could go back in time. Problem with that is that the Earth might not be where you think it'll be, and so you'll just go back in time, but you're just floating in space.
Okay, so if I can answer that question for you,
You're going to have to talk to Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Well, hold on. I'll take this to Neil. Okay.
Okay, good.
Because if you're talking about a Stargate or a portal,
Mhm.
and if you're talking about our misunderstanding of time, space, and quantum physics, and everything is happening that's ever happened or ever will happen exactly as it is happening, but because our eyes and our ability to perceive are not developed enough, we don't know that by stepping through that portal or that Stargate.
So what you're saying is
it's just
stepping
like
through a multiverse.
I'm saying it's like stepping through a multiverse.
Okay,
but
there you've got me.
But hear me out. If you follow the door theory, right?
Mhm.
When we were kids, there was an obvious difference when you walked through the door of my bedroom versus your bedroom versus mom and dad's bedroom.
Yes.
Now, we were perceiving it all at the same time that fits our timeline. But if our ability to see was modified and amplified, so like if we could see like a bee sees or like a cat sees or like, name the animal or the insect, we might see things. We might be looking at what was going on in this particular space by walking through that doorway. What happened in this exact spot on what we consider planet Earth 200 years ago?
Well, I have an explanation for people that I use in the great world of the paranormal, which is ghosts. Things happen. And what I perceive and my opinion is that time is not congruent. It's always moving. And much like a radio, our brain is tuned to a certain frequency.
Mm-hmm.
When you tune a station in on a radio, all the other stations are still there. They're just not tuned.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm kind of getting at here.
Yeah.
And that's why I say, is AI, to use your analogy, is AI that radio dial?
Could be.
Are the advances that come from AI? All right. So like even right now, just take like Elon's Neuralink. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just Neuralink. At some point, if that implant can be dialed in, and now we're not getting as much static, we're getting a very clear signal, wouldn't that be the opportunity to rewire a lot of different new pathways that maybe exist but haven't been used because we've been fooling ourselves and creating a world for ourselves where we are labor intensive, and that's all that we can think about is how hard can we work, whether that's a physical job or whether blue collar or white collar.
What if that Neuralink was used to help fix mental health issues?
Well, this is what I'm saying. So like if AI So we have the hardware in Neuralink, but we're limited to a degree to our own personal imaginations as to what we can get that Neuralink to do to expand consciousness, expand ability, expand healing, expand all these things, right? It maybe to the point of being able to figure out how to click off the aging switch, click off the cancer switch, the heart disease switch, like all these different switches that bring us closer to death in one form or another. Maybe through AI, we're able to enhance or shut down. So enhance maybe our vision or our sense of smell or our sense of taste or sense of hearing to sense of feel. Maybe we'll experience things like music on a deeper level or art. Those are the things I think, why isn't that possible? And if that's possible, we should be able to expand the pathways in the brain to utilize more and utilize it more efficiently. And if we can do that, maybe because we are a species that is never satisfied, no matter what, we always have to make something. We have to make something better, always. Maybe that gets us to the point where we figure out that space travel isn't necessarily about how fast you get a rocket ship to go. It's about creating a vehicle that can make it through the wormhole, because the wormhole is coming at it. The spaceship is actually stationary, but the wormhole or the portal or the Stargate is what the spaceship has to experience. But it doesn't have to experience extreme ability for speed, like the speed of light. It doesn't have.
Know what we have to do then? I just got an idea. We have to create a phone app that's like Uber, but it's for Stargates. It bring it right to you.
And you know what I think we should make the craft look like?
What's that?
The egg from Mork and Ork. I think everyone has to show up in an egg. I think that'd be perfect. And with that, I think there's nothing more we can do but bring out.
You can't break a good Stargate without breaking a few eggs.
You got to break a few eggs.
I just said that backwards. You can't make a good Stargate without breaking a few eggs. Nanu.
And now it's time for PNN.
And now the Pickle Nincompoop Network brings you the news so you don't have to read it.
Dear formerly known as CBS affiliates, hi, we're PNN. Think of us as CBS. If CBS had finally snapped, embraced the chaos, and started reporting the news the way people actually talk about it in the break room. We deliver headlines with the accuracy of a major network and the emotional stability of a raccoon in a Wawa parking lot. If your viewers are exhausted, cynical, and running on iced coffee and spite, we're the upgrade. While other networks pretend everything is normal, we're out here covering the real stories, like why the economy is held together by boomers buying kayaks and why Texas politics now require a seatbelt. If your station wants news that's honest, unhinged, and weirdly educational, welcome home. PNN is what happens when a traditional news network gets insomnia, drinks 3 energy drinks, and decides to tell the truth anyway. We cover politics, economics, scandals, and global crises with the tone America actually uses. Oh great, what now? If your station wants to stand out, PNN is the only network that embraces the madness instead of pretending it's fine. Thank you for attending my gherkin talk. Now, in the news. Meanwhile, in Palm Beach.
Sorry. My gherkin talk got me.
Imagine doing acid and hearing that.
Oh shit! You know what I think?
Pickle talking.
Hold on. The whole time I'm listening to you, and I'm going, you know what? We've got to start filming these for fucking YouTube shorts. and the way it works is you're the newscaster and I'm the producer and I keep losing it. All right, go on.
All right. While in Palm
My
Beach,
girl can talk, you dick. Come on. It's so close to a TED Talk, but not.
exactly.
All right.
Meanwhile,
Back to
in
the
Palm
news.
Beach, Donald Trump Jr. got married again, this time to Bettina Anderson, whose late father, Harry Loy Anderson Jr., was a Palm Beach banker who handled Jeffrey Epstein's accounts for over a decade, approved his credit card applications, and even wrote a glowing character letter calling Epstein a gentleman of the highest integrity. That's true.
He said
It's
that.
absolutely true, yeah.
Because everyone that I've heard says, as soon as you were around him, you felt like you were in a creepy situation.
Well, what does that say about Anderson Jr.?
That's what I'm getting at.
Online sleuths immediately connected the dots like they were solving a true crime Sudoku. And PNN analysts confirm that the wedding cake was 40% frosting and 60% unresolved federal questions. Meanwhile,
the Epstein files were in the cake.
Meanwhile, in Texas, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, fresh off winning the GOP Senate primary, despite a history of indictments, bribery allegations, and impeachment, is once again under fire as critics highlight his office's handling of a child sex abuse plea deal that resulted in outrage across the state. If you're not familiar with this, he got this guy Hoffman off.
With one day in jail, right? And
he got less than 30 days in jail,
but no need to register.
Raping his son's friend for 3 years,
and
from age 6 to 9,
and he didn't even have to register as a sex offender, right?
Correct.
Unfucking believable. Epstein class.
Yes.
Like, at what point? At what fucking point are the diehards going to go, well, wait a minute, this was the stuff that we were so upset about with QAnon, and this was the stuff when you know what, this was fun when it was Hillary and Bill, but
it is a straight up case of the call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, every accusation turns out to be an admonition. I mean, for crying out, it just drives me nuts. Like, how much clearer does it have to be? Like, even if the Epstein files come out.
How many people did you see supporting Donald Trump in this election with T-shirts that said, I don't care if he raped kids?
Yeah, that's the problem.
They scream TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. That's not what TDS stands for. It stands for Trump diddling school children. Seriously.
I shouldn't laugh at that. I don't mean to. Laughter is like breathing. It's involuntary. I apologize for laughing at that.
I would love to try to explain this to more MAGA people, but I do not have the time nor the crayons to do it. Seriously. PNN legal experts, me, say the situation is so messy, it requires its own hazmat suit and wet wipes, while Paxton's supporters insist everything is fine and definitely not a sign that the Texas politics is being run by a malfunctioning Roomba named Abbott. Ken Paxton's eyes have the same energy as a laptop that's been stuck on restarting at 12% for 3 hours. Paxton's eyes look like they belong to a porcelain doll that definitely moves when the lights are off.
Did you see
Paxton,
that? Did you see that? I'm sorry, did you see that the MAGA is losing it now because he's going up against Tallarico? And they got...
Yeah, he's calling him Telefrico.
Yeah, and so MAGA, being MAGA and having access again to AI, decided that because he said something about being vegan or whatever, they were going to create AI videos of him eating meat, but using a napkin around to hold it, right? And it's such AI slop. It's so bad.
Alarico replied.
Oh, did he?
He responded to that, yeah. He said, he first of all, he's an 8th generation Texan, Tellerico.
Okay.
Paxton was born and raised in North Dakota. So he's not even a real Texan. But Tallarico said, I've been eating Texas barbecue since before you were impeached the first time. Literally, that's what he said. Which, hell yeah. As a final joke, I wanted to put out that Paxton looks like his mom worked out and had a six-pack every night while she was pregnant. Meanwhile, in the GOP universe, Paxton's victory over longtime Senator John Cornyn has Republicans sweating through their cowboy boots as they brace for the massive fundraising problems that they're facing and a potentially chaotic Senate race. Some strategists, whatever you want to call it, estimate that the party may need to dump $100 million into Texas just to keep the seat.
And that's not going to help. I don't think it's going to help.
That is insane.
The fact that
financial, what's that?
The fact that Citizens United has brought us to this point where they can even with a straight face say $100 million in Texas for an election, a midterm.
For advertisement.
Yeah,
like
for
seriously.
A midterm. The fact that they can say that and not choke on their fucking tongue shows you how bad Citizens United was.
Yep. PNN financial analysts, me, have rated the situation, yikes, the highest rating available before, oh no. Paxton's eyes look like an NPC who's been given too many dialogue options and none of them are loading. Paxton's eyes look like they've been left on the dashboard of a truck in August. Was that mean?
No, I like it.
Meanwhile, in the economy.
It's pickle approved.
One pickle up. Meanwhile, in the
no
economy,
visual needed.
CEOs across the U.S. suddenly turned into Victorian fainting goats as confidence in the economy plunged from 59 to 47%, signaling more pessimism than optimism about supply chains and energy risks. PNN analysts say that this is the financial equivalent of hearing a creak in the basement and deciding that the house is haunted.
Yep.
Meanwhile, at the Strait of Hormuz, oil markets are sweating bullets as analysts warn that if the strait doesn't reopen soon, Brent crude oil could spike to nearly $150 a barrel, blowing past the previous records and dragging inflation up by its bootstraps.
Well, they like bootstraps.
That's why I wrote that. CNN meteorologists have upgraded the national mood to cranky with a chance of recession. Inflation is no longer just gas prices. It's spreading like glitter at preschool. The latest data shows 3.8% year-over-year inflation, the fastest since 2021, with housing, utilities, and recreation all joining that dirty little party. PNN economists, me, recommend coping strategies such as screaming into pillows and pretending your grocery bill is a collectible. Meanwhile, on Piers Morgan show, Professor Zhang Quindian, I can't even say his last name, called the U.S. economy a Ponzi scheme, dependent on the Gulf nations investing in America tech and AI. There's that AI again. Warning that if money stops, the economy could collapse and young men could not afford their OnlyFans, potentially causing a revolution. PNN sociologists confirm that this is the first time that OnlyFans has been cited as a national security risk or cause of a civil war. What the hell has happened?
Oh, it gets worse. It gets worse. YouPorn has shut down their Georgia site because of the law requiring age verification for the users, for the people that are logging on to look. And that's actually going to have a ripple effect if it hasn't already. Okay,
This is one of those moments where I feel completely out of touch, but you porn?
Yeah, it's a porn site.
Okay.
Right? It's free porn, right?
You porn, me porn, we porn.
But the ripple effect is this. They pull their site, and by doing so, people go to lesser secure sites. And the sites that are offering the free porn, whether that's YouPorn or whatever, right? Whatever the more reputable ones are, they go down the same path of needing age verification. It shuts down, and I think this was the intended idea, is that it would shut down online porn. But what it actually will do is it will create a underground that will have no regulation. So if you thought that you were getting rid of porn by getting rid of like these top sites, the most popular sites or whatever, remember that they were the ones that actually handled business like a business and did what they could to protect their business, which meant that they were going to be far more likely to not allow or try to stop, whether that's child pornography, whether that's sex trafficking pornography, whether that's slave pornography, whether that's consensual, actual pornography, or whether it's just poor women from fucking weird countries being abducted and filmed and put online. That's something that I think people need to start paying attention to, because they're not giving any, the government's not giving any guidance. They're just saying you have to have age verification. So
that's why I always turn to www.midgetdonkeypunch.com.
That's my favorite site too.
Really?
Yeah. Well, brothers, it was bound to happen.
Meanwhile, in the tech worker reality, an H-1B worker revealed that he applied to 1,500 plus jobs without a single callback, highlighting the brutal tech job market, layoffs, and the constant fear of losing visa status. PNN HR experts recommend updating your resume, your LinkedIn, and your feet pics for OnlyFans.
And you, again, are the HR expert.
This is true. I take many kinds of pictures for anybody listening. Meanwhile, and Trump,
it's not just hand models. It's not just hand models.
Meanwhile, in the Trump-Xi relations world, President Trump claimed that China will invest hundreds of billions in U.S. tech companies after a surprise meeting between CEOs and Xi Jinping, with both leaders agreeing Iran should never have a nuclear weapon. PNN interpreters confirmed that the meeting was 40% diplomacy and 60% geriatric improv. I wonder if they're going to invest in American porn sites.
It would be a bad idea right now.
This has been the Pickle Nincompoop Network. PNN wants to remind you that if your news feels normal, tweak your nipples and please consult a professional.
And with that, that's another Elsie's Little Pickles.